Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be writing a very basic drum beat to the song Royals by Lorde.
In the torn up town, no postcode heavy.
Okay, first things first, whenever we're working on a remix, you need to make sure you're in grid mode. What that's going to do, it's just going to make sure any notes you input into your track are going to be beat synced to the tempo of the track. After listening to that short little clip, the first thing I've realised is the tempo is way too slow for a dance track at the moment. It's sitting at about 85 BPM. If I unselect the conductor, it's automatically boosted it up to 120.
In the torn up town, no postcode heavy.
Already that's much more suited to the dance track style of music that we're going to be doing. I've got an option here. If I click on this 120, I can make it faster and faster. Here it is at 155. Now, when you do boost the tempo up this far, just be careful because it could become quite unmusical.
But everybody's like, oh, teeth gray goose dripping in the bathroom, bloodstains spark out, stretching the hotel room.
Like I said, it's really not very musical at that tempo, so I'm going to drop it back to around about 120 or thereabouts. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new instrument track. The shortcut, Control-Shift-N. I'm going to make it stereo and instrument track. Okay, here it is down the bottom. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to rename my instrument track to drums. Alright, all I did there was double-click the title of the track from instrument 1, change it to drums. Now on my drum kit track, I'm going to insert a plugin, a virtual instrument. So under my inserts tab, I've got these three greyish brownish tabs I can insert plugins onto. If you don't have this inserts tab, if yours looks something like this, just click at the drop down menu and create the inserts tab. So I'm going to click and select a multi-channel plugin, which is an instrument, and I'm going to grab the multi-timbral synthesizer Expand 2. Okay, here it is here. It's loaded up with its default patch, which is beneath the waves. I'm going to click factory default just under the presets here, and I'm going to go down to drums, and I'm going to find a drum kit which is going to be a bit more suited to a dance style track. Dance track. Now, each of my hits should have been mapped to a drum kit. First things first, I'm going to be using the MIDI editor to write my drum beat. So if I right click my track, I've got the option to open MIDI editor. Now you might do that and go, hang on a minute, where is it? It could be minimized in the corner like mine is. Now I know my kick drum is located on C1. It's the standard general MIDI location for bass drums, just like snares are normally around E and so on. And then these black keys up here are the hi-hats, closed hat to open hat and so on. Now, my track doesn't start at the very start of my session. You can see the intro kicks off at bar 2. So what I'm going to want to do with my MIDI editor, I'm going to want to make sure I start writing my notes in at bar 2. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with a really simple 4 on the floor kick drum. Now, what I've got at the moment, see these vertical lines running down my MIDI editor? These are what we call grid lines, okay? With grid mode engaged, my cursor and the notes that I input are going to snap to these grid lines. Notice how I'm only highlighting a chunk at a time. My cursor is snapping to these grid lines. The whole point about that is whatever we write is going to be beat synced to our track. Okay, so at the moment each grid line is the equivalent of a quaver. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Alright. So with my pencil tool I can go down to C1, which is my kick, and I can put 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and there I have a very basic 4 on the floor kick drum pattern. Now if I want to, instead of me having to click this same pattern in again and again and again for the entire track, what I can do with my selector tool I can click at the start of the bar, drag, and drag right the way to the end of the section I want to copy. Just when you're doing this, be very careful that you are grabbing complete bars. Don't just think, okay, from that beat to there is going to be 2 complete bars, because it's not. And if you start duplicating that, notice how now my beats are going to sound real weird.
I've never seen a diamond in the flesh.
You can hear that's already offset. So if you are going to Control D to duplicate, make sure you're grabbing complete bars, and then we can just Control D right out. So far, track sound.
I've never seen a diamond in the flesh.
Okay, pretty simple. Now what we want to do at each section of the song, if we look up here, we've got intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and so on. We need some variation to occur at each of these sections. If it just plays the exact same string across all sections, it's going to be very boring and very uninteresting. So if I have my kick drum playing for my intro,
I've never seen a diamond.
right there at verse 1, which is around about bar 4, I'm going to want to create a little bit of variation. I'm going to want to put in some hi-hats. Now, this quaver grid amount, it's not very exciting.
Diamond in the flesh.
So what I want to do, I'm going to change my grid amount from quavers to 16th notes. Alright, and now I'm just going to pepper these just wherever. I mean, this is the great thing about working in grid mode. I know that all of these are going to be snapping to a semi-quaver amount, which means they're all going to be in time. Don't know what they're going to sound like at the moment, but this is half the fun.
I've never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings in the movies, and I'm not.
Cool. So, once again, really simple. I want to show you another way. Instead of Control-Ding and duplicating this section, what we can do is hold Alt, click, and drag, and we can drag out another copy of what we've got here. So I might just complete this.
Never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings in the movies, and I'm not proud of my address. In the torn up town, no postcode heavy, but everybody's like.
Okay, right here the pre-chorus kicks in, and once again this is where we want variation to occur. So what I might do, I'm just going to highlight 4 bars. I'm going to hit Control D, and I've duplicated the exact same rhythm into this part. Now what I think the variation I might bring in might be a hi-hat on the offbeat. So it's going to be like, instead of the kick, it'll be sorry for the poor interpretation there, but I'm going to want to put an open hi-hat on the ands. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. So if we listen to the track now.
No postcode heavy, but everybody's like, go to grey goose tripping in the bathroom, bloodstains, spark out, trash in the hotel room. We don't care. We're driving Cadillacs in our dreams, but everybody's like, we slow Maybach, diamonds and timepiece, jet planes, islands, tigers on a go wish. We don't care. We're not caught up in your love affair, and we'll never be wrong.
Okay, and right there, leading into the chorus, which occurs at bar 20, I'm going to want to do a really basic, simple build up and drop. So at the moment I've got crotchets, let's say 1, 2. The next 2 bars I'm simply going to halve that rhythm. So instead of doing crotchets, 2 beats, I'm going to put quavers, 3 and 4 and. The next 2 beats I'm going to change to semi-quavers. Now if I right click my pencil tool and I select line, I can simply right click, drag and write in a hit at each one of those semi-quaver amounts. Now the next beat, I'm going to change my grid value to demi-semi-quavers, and I'm going to put in a beat of that. And the last beat, I'm going to change to hemi-demi-semi-quavers, and I'll zoom in a little bit just so I can, on this one here, cancel that. So what you're going to get is a bang, 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 bang kind of effect.
We don't care. We're not caught up in the love affair, and we'll never be royal.
Okay, just like so. Once again, this is really basic stuff, but just to give you an idea how to do it.
So maybe back, I'm in the timepiece, jet planes, islands, tigers on a go wish. We don't care. We're not caught up in the love affair, and we'll never be royal. It's running out the.
Cool. And you know what I think's actually really effective? Bar 20, that's when the chorus comes in, our very first chorus right here. This is where we want variation to occur. Now, variation doesn't always mean adding. Subtracting instruments and hits can be even more effective than just adding to it. If you have a listen to the drums.
Jet planes, islands, tigers on a go wish. We don't care. We're not caught up in the love affair, and we'll never be royal. It's running out the kind of extra same for us.
I think that's a greater little drop there. And then I might simply select 4 bars of my initial pre-chorus groove. Paste in there. Another variation might be, instead of just having a kick drum going, is have absolutely nothing.
So maybe back, I'm in the timepiece, jet planes, islands, tigers on a go wish. We don't care. We're not caught up in the love affair, and we'll never be royal. It's running out the kind of extra same for us.
Cool. So what I want to do, obviously here, I do want to change the drum beat a little bit, and I want to put a backbeat on a hand clap. So a backbeat is an accent on beats 2 and 4 of the bar. So I've changed my grid amount now to crotchets. Beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4, beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. You get the idea. Okay, so if I just duplicate that. So now
Timepiece, jet planes, islands, tigers on a go wish. We don't care. We're not caught up in the love affair, and we'll never be royal. It's running out the kind of extra same for us. We crave a different kind of buzz, and let me be your ruler. You can call me Queen Bee, and baby I'll rule. Let me live that fantasy.
okay, right here, chorus finishes. I think we've got a 2-bar interlude.
My friends and I.
And at bar 30 is where verse 2 kicks off. So what I'm going to do, just for the fun of it, I'm going to copy and paste my build up into the lead into verse 2.
My friends and I will crack the.
And then I'd start writing a drum beat again. Remember, variation needs to happen going into the verse. I wouldn't just copy this drum beat and play it from the verse, because there's not enough variation there. Alright, we need to keep the listeners interested. We need to change things, and variation is the key to doing that. Anyway, good luck writing your drum beats.